Out of the gate, JT from Vegas just jumped in the pool, got out of the pool, refreshed. We're going to 108, 106. We're in the zone. And I love being on radio at night. Talk back at the half. Now that we're underway in the third quarter, an absolute no-show in the first half for Halliburton, an absolute no-show. And clearly the better team, I thought the better team in the entire series would be the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're taking control, but a Pacers game is never over. The Pacers, you can step on their throat, you can hold them down, you can do whatever you want to do, but the Pacers have a way of grinding and staying in games and having an opportunity to win it late. Welcome in. I hope everybody had a great Father's Day. I hope if your father's still with us, or your uncles or your cousins, the men in your life that you celebrate Father's Day with, I hope it was a great one yesterday, and I hope you had a good weekend. And now on Monday, hey, this is it. By the end of this week, we will not have the NBA and we will not have the NHL. Two of our four major sports would have gone away, and we wait and we count down to football. But fortunately, tonight, Shohei Ohtani is back on the mound. He now jumps Aaron Judge and becomes the best player in all of baseball because he's pitching again. But I got an NBA game on, so I'll get you to the end of the game, and then we'll dive in on everything else that we need to talk about tonight. I will tell you, I thought that Oklahoma City could have went up by over 20 at one point in that game. They had a chance to really put them away in the first half of that game because Halliburton was a no-show. 17 minutes, 0 of 5 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, 0 points, minus 18. Stephen A. Smith at halftime roasted him for obvious reasons. This kid's had a great game in every series. Even some of the series he had better than one game, and he doesn't show up in what is the most important game of his life, is this game, which is in progress. And he's got to have a big game, and he doesn't have a big game tonight. So we'll see if Halliburton can get this going. OKC 61, Indy 47, with about 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. So if you want to get in, let us know all about it, and we'll get you in here at 888-623-3646 is the number. 888-MAD-DOG-6 if you want to get in, and we can go from there. So there's a lot of people I want to hear from tonight, so jump on in. Let me know what you're thinking about, and we'll go from there. There are baseball trades to talk about. Rafael Devers leaves Boston, and he'll head out and go to San Francisco. That's great for me as a Yankee fan because he was an absolute Yankee killer. Absolute Yankee killer. And Cranky Yankee is looming because the Yankees haven't scored, and it's the 11th bleeping inning in the Bronx. Okay, so the Yankees, who have lost 5 out of 6, were swept, absolutely swept in Boston, come back to the Bronx, and they don't have a run in the 11th inning with a ghost runner on second base. I mean, this is out of control what's happening there. But I want to mention the Devers trade because a lot of people are divided on this. To me, it is very simple. San Francisco did a blockbuster deal. They gave up a lot because they have to consume that payroll of Devers. No one's arguing that Rafael Devers isn't a really good player. And he's an all-star. He's an elite player. Yeah, you can put him in an elite player. He's a top 20 player in baseball pretty much every year. But he didn't quit on the Red Sox. I'll be very careful with that. He was disgruntled as Alex Bregman came in. He didn't want to switch his position. And he was just a guy that didn't want to be around the organization the way he used to be. So if I'm ownership and I'm seeing this and we're paying this guy over $300 million, I'm like, get his ass out of here. The owners write the checks for the players. The owners, after a while, have the right to say, you don't want to be here, then I'm going to trade your ass. And I think that's what the Red Sox did. They got something in return, not nearly enough, but they unloaded the contract. I believe personally that more and more owners need to unload contracts in sports. You can sign a contract and it could be a bad contract 2 years later and you can't move the contract. You just can't move it because it's an albatross. Look at Juan Soto, $700 million. He went through a stretch, and the Mets are playing well this year, but he went through about a 2 or 3 week stretch where he was sulking. He wasn't in a good mood. He wasn't happy, and they're paying him $700 million. Rafael Devers is making half of what Juan Soto makes, and he wasn't happy. So San Francisco gets him in a division where you have to get a guy like Devers or you can't compete. You just have to. You have to have Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis. you have to have elite players in your organization to compete against the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are trying to win, which is right. That's great. They're going to overextend because the payroll isn't an issue for the Dodgers. They can sell one of their paintings for $100 million and get plenty of players. And the Dodgers aren't going to let up on payroll anytime soon, especially with Shohei Ohtani in the organization. The Dodgers are going to continue to spend. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Oh, my God, look at who they got. But this is the year that the Dodgers have a lot of problems with their arms. They have a lot of arm injuries. How many guys? 14 at one point, the pitchers in the organization on the DL. Now you got to go pounce. So I give it up. I really do. I give it up for the San Francisco Giants for trying to be relevant in a division where they will not be relevant. I'm out here making a living in the AFC West. I say the same thing about the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos. For the last 10 years or so, we've seen Kansas City elevate that team. And then Mahomes comes in and they're almost unbeatable. If you don't go out and make trades and get better players against Kansas City, you have no chance to win the division. So sometimes you're going to have to get a bad contract. You're going to have to go spend to get a player that typically you wouldn't want to, because that's how you're going to beat the Chiefs. That's what I believe San Francisco did. And we'll talk about that just a little bit here, because I like big deals in baseball. And I have no problem with anybody making money in sports. But once we start getting to the $300, $400, $500 million deal, these are the players that we should be most critical of if they don't play well. Here's Buster Posey, president of baseball operations for the San Francisco Giants, courtesy of MLB Network Radio.
Personally, is a big deal, but again, just his presence, putting my former catcher hat on, you think about having to sort through a lineup, and when you see a guy like Devers in the lineup, it changes things for you. It changes the way that you have to attack a lineup, and he's kind of always in the back of your mind. You know, you go through the lineup the first time, and then you're thinking about how you get through it the next time, and you change your strategy, because when you have the offensive prowess of a guy like Devers, it definitely makes you think different about how you attack a lineup.
So if you look at that deal overall, coming from the Giants' perspective, Buster Posey summed it up, I think, perfectly. You know, they brought a player in who's arguably the best player on their team. Did it cost a little bit too much? I believe it did. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm happy he's a Yankee killer. Get him out of the American League East. Put him in the NL West. And the NL West looks really good to me. Let's hear from Jeff Passan on this deal, because, again, there's a lot going on in trades like this. And Passan understands that the Red Sox are different now. Plus, when you look at the contract, moving a contract like that, if you believe in the fact that you have to do that, and you get someone on the fishing line, someone on the hook that wants to take the contract, you go out there and do the deal.
Say that this was a money deal by the Red Sox, because I don't think it was like a straight dump, we have to do this. But I do think this was a financially motivated deal. And when you compound the finances and the degradation of the relationship between the Red Sox and Devers over the last few months, and this is a relationship that was good and went bad in a hurry, it makes sense that this is the kind of deal that they would look for, because I don't think there's a single world in which Rafael Devers is bringing back a huge return. I heard from an executive almost immediately in the aftermath of the trade, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, "I love this deal so much because it's terrible for both sides, and both sides probably love what they did."
That is a great soundbite. I agree with him. I think it's a terrible deal for both sides. It is. Boston has a chance after sweeping the Yankees to pick up momentum, because the Yankees are just a mess. Just an absolute mess every time I turn around. But when it comes to what's happening, when it comes to what's happening with the Giants, I believe that at times you got to do deals. You just got to do a deal, because if you don't do a deal, your team's not going to be competitive. I want to hear from you on that topic at 888-623-3646, 888-MAD-DOG-6. And the big topic is what I do think I do better than anybody else at night. Yes, better than anybody. Is I can take a local topic, it's local in Boston and San Francisco, and get you involved in it. Because how could you get involved in this baseball topic? It's simple. What contract would you like to get out of with your team? You got a player on your team that you want to get out of the contract. I'm not able to get out of the Stanton contract for the last 4 or 5 years. The Giancarlo Stanton contract is an albatross for the Yankees. I'd love to get out of it every day, and we haven't been able to get out of it. So when you look at deals that there's a contract, and mostly in the NBA, would you agree with me that most of the garbage contracts in sports are in the NBA? They're just deals in the NBA that you do a deal for a guy, and then you're saying, wow, we're paying him $40 million a year. And then he's no longer an all-star, and we're holding on to that $40 to $50 million a year. Paul George is the best example that we have now in sports. Some leagues have guaranteed contracts, others don't. The NFL does not have guaranteed contracts. Your guaranteed money is your signing bonus. When you get a contract extension, you get guaranteed money. And then other than that, they can cut you whenever they want. I'm kind of good with that. I think the guaranteed money is the key in sports now. That's why Kirk Cousins changed the landscape of the NFL. As a quarterback, he got the $84 million, and then he got another guaranteed deal and another guaranteed deal. The guaranteed deal is the wave of the future. And then you got Ohtani in LA. He's getting a whole bunch of money, fuzzy math, and they're deferring that money over the years. They're deferring it and not actually spending it at that moment. So bad contracts are really the essence of sports radio, everybody. It really is. If you look at the history of sports radio, syndication, Mike and the Mad Dog, whoever you grew up listening to, a lot of guys at night grew up listening to me, whoever you are, the essence of sports radio is we talk about losing, not winning. Every time a team wins, they go crazy, but it's not controversial. When they lose, it's controversial. And then secondly on that, we talk about bad contracts. We do. And I grew up in New York with the Yankees where money was not an issue. Money was never a problem. George Steinbrenner would spend it, and if he didn't get the return from the manager or the player, he'd get furious and he'd want to get out of the deal. And I think we're seeing that now. All right, let me move on to the U.S. Open in golf. And I was on a bit of a golf trip over the weekend, and I got a chance to watch most of the U.S. Open on Sunday. And with the rain delay, and J.J. Spahn came back and won, it truly was one of the Mount Rushmore moments in U.S. Open history. And how is that even possible? Like, how are we living in a time where we just had the Alcaraz French Open match, which is widely considered a top 2 to 3 tennis match ever, dating back to Rod Laver. And then we go and we get into what happened here at this golf tournament over in Oakmont, and it's pouring rain, and Sam Burns is having to hit his ball out of line water. J.J. Spahn comes out, and he has the first 2 holes. He blows up on the first 2 holes because he hit the flag and the ball rolled all the way almost back to him. And then he ends the championship, the United States Championship, with birdie, and he hits a walk-off putt to win. I mean, you want to talk about something truly fascinating for all the golf fans out there. I think you'll see it again. We saw John Rahm at Torrey Pines win birdie, but J.J. Spahn needed a 2-putt win to win, and he drained it, which is one of the greatest finishes I've ever seen at a U.S. Open. After the round, immediately, J.J. Spahn on coming back from controversy, struggles, early bogeys to be the United States Open champion.
Coaches, my caddy, they just said, dude, you got so much golf left. And, if you told yourself, on Monday that you'd have, or you'd be like 4 shots back on into back nine on Sunday, you'd take it, right? So it kind of changed my mindset from like choking to, okay, I'm still not out of this. There's so much golf left. And, it was a nice little reset.
I think that's a great soundbite, man. If you raise your hand and beep your horn, if you play golf, you're playing with a bunch of buddies, and you're just having a bad day, and all of a sudden you look and there's 4 holes left and you're right there. I mean, it's not comparable to a major championship in golf, but it's comparable to life when you have bad luck and a bad day and you think you have bad karma and it's all going against you, and you just hang in there. And once you hang in there, after you hang in there, you come back and win. It's happened to us all in life. But I really think that is interesting to me. Really interesting to me that he was able to win that tournament, considering what happened on the back nine. To shoot a 32 on the back nine in the rain, having to succumb to a rain delay, and then win the way he did by driving the green and getting a birdie, and then birdieing on 18. If you're a golf fan today, I say the same thing all the time. If we don't hear from you golf fans after majors, you're no good to any of us. I mean, we got to hear from you after a major, man. If we don't hear from you the Monday after a major or the Sunday night after a major when I'm on in football, those are the nights we have to hear from you. So if you're a golf fan, I'll go first. I'm happy an American won. An American won the U.S. Open. Rory McIlroy's looking like a whining son of a blank. Rory McIlroy looks like a whining little baby. Scotty Scheffler, great golfer, in it late, couldn't beat J.J. Spahn. None of those live greedy guys. None of those live guys who took their money from the Saudis, and you know about that money. They took that money, they couldn't win. And a guy who went to San Diego State ends up winning the United States Championship. Man, I thought it was fantastic there. So that's part of the monologue if you want to get through. 888 Mad Dog 6. Cranky Yankee. Yankees find a way again. And this is incredible. And I could do the whole show on this. The Yankees just lose in 11, 1-0. Okay, I am confident that I'm a more educated and passionate Yankee fan on the radio than the majority of human beings who have ever walked the planet. Okay, this is a good night to start Fire Boone. This is why you fire Aaron Boone at the All-Star break. You know you can't win with him, so you fire him. I don't care that he's 21-13 at home. They're supposed to be. When the Yankees do this and continue to do this, it gives you no interest in believing they can win the World Series. There isn't a Yankee fan who can debate me on this. Aaron Boone is not a motivator. He cannot lead that locker room anymore. So the Yankees lose to the Angels, who are 34-37, 19-21 on the road. After getting embarrassed in Boston, they get shut out in 11 innings at home, 1-0. You got to be kidding me. And just like I predicted, Judge would fall into his wiffle ball status, what he's doing now. And everybody wanted to see Stanton come back. And Stanton came back, got a couple of hits tonight, which is a good thing. But the rest of the Yankees couldn't manufacture runs. So you say, JT, Aaron Boone took him to the World Series last year. That's not my point. Aaron Boone can't win. Tom Thibodeau took the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he got fired. Okay? Aaron Boone does not deserve to have this Yankee job. I don't think if the Yankees get into trouble here, the only thing they need to do, fire Billy Martin, bring in Bob Lemon. Bob Lemon wins the World Series. If you're not old enough to remember that, Google it. Cranky Yankee, like I wanted to deal with this crap tonight. Here comes Indiana. 73-62. They've cut it to 11 with 5:37 to go in the game. I told you they were down big, and now they're coming kind of digging around here. We'll get you to the end of the game here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. We'll get some really good guests tonight. Eddie Johnson's going to join us after the game from NBA Radio. We're really happy about that. Also, Todd Lewis is going to join us from Golf Channel, one of the best reporters I know. And he made time for me to come on here as he's traveling back from Oakmont. So Todd Lewis will join us. And also Josh Alper from Pro Football Talk, who I think is really good to go around the league. We'll get some NFL news coming in because we're always an NFL show. We want to lead with the NFL whenever we can. 888-623-3646. JT from steamy Vegas. The summer is here with the NBA winding down. The Stanley Cup final back on tomorrow. We're ready to talk to you. This is Mad Dog Sports Radio. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Shut out at home, huh? Wow. Hard to do that, man. It's hard to play 11 innings of baseball and not score a run. That is hard to do. That does take some skill not be able to do that and to see what's happening here. It's tough. Right. Right. Agree with you there. Couldn't get out of there quick enough, huh? That's incredible. I'll be right there. All right, chat. Thanks for coming in. I'm going to bail out of here. That's all I can do. I can only do the monologue here. I'd like to put up some video, some audio, so we can cut it up and do all that. So appreciate it. I'm going to do it the same thing tomorrow. I'll start at 7 o'clock Pacific tomorrow, and we'll take that all the way down to the bottom of the hour, Monday, Tuesday night, right here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Appreciate the people that follow the show, man. If you can catch us now, try to catch us on Mad Dog Sports Radio.